Good evening. Workers were standing by at Dunedin's Birch Street Wharf this afternoon as the inter-island ferry Arahura came alongside. She's in Dunedin for a multi-million-dollar refit. It's the second major sea rail contract the Dunedin firm Sims Engineering has pulled off this year, and it'll keep more than 200 people in work for the 2 months she'll be in port. Kathy Graham reports.
Arahura's the youngest of the sea rail ferries and the biggest. Her distinctive, rather tatty green will be transformed during her stay in Dunedin to an elegant white, while the interior is refurbished to bring her up to the standard of a cruiser. Sea Rail, obviously pleased with the Dunedin refit on her sister ship Arahanga, awarded the second contract to Sims Engineering. Some of the 200 plus workers who'll be employed on the job were waiting on the wharf, ready to begin. They've got just under 2 months to complete the job. And so long as there's some fine weather to dry the thousands of litres of paint, they're not expecting any problems. The ferry carries over 1,000 passengers. They'll be wined and dined in style after the refurbishing. This is what she'll look like at the end of the exercise.
Oh, it was a tender that was put out to 7 companies. We understand it, that we won the tender on the basis of price and proven ability to do the job.
So you can be pretty confident you might get the third one as well?
We'll be trying.
The third contract's expected to be awarded in September.
Telecom's bringing in experts from the north to sort out a major fault in Dunedin's new computerised Darling Street phone exchange. 1,500 Central City subscribers with 740 and 741 prefixes have been dogged by faults recently. Incoming calls haven't got through and dialing out has been a problem. They're being transferred back to the old system while the problem is fixed. What is cheaper in Southland than Otago, and cheaper still just over the Waitaki River? We are hardly stating the obvious when we say it's car insurance, where Otago drivers seem to be getting one of the worst deals in the South Island. Michael Lynch reports.
State Insurance has just announced proudly it's made motor insurance fair for everyone. The highest risk areas will pay most, say State. And this means if you live in Otago, you'll pay more than anyone else in the South Island. A $10,000 car like this costs from $376 to insure in Christchurch. In Invercargill, it's $334. In South Canterbury, $248. Yet just across the Waitaki Bridge into Otago, it's a massive $409. State are a trifle cagey about why the big difference and won't be interviewed. They say we're worse drivers here. Yet talk to the Ministry of Transport and they'll deny it. Christchurch, for example, has 3 times more injury accidents than Dunedin. State also says Dunedin's snow boosts the crash rate. Again, the ministry's suspicious.
We find in weather conditions like that, the locals, of course, know what to expect and they take the extra precautions.
And Trevor Piper's puzzled by the giant difference across the Waitaki.
You can't divide it up between an arbitrary line like that. You've got to ask the question, where's that person going to drive? On the high side or the low side of the river?
But spare a thought for Christchurch. We're living on the wrong side of a street can add $100 to the premium. And Auckland, where over the bridge definitely means a cheaper premium, and where central Auckland, with its banked up motorways, is about the dearest premium in New Zealand. Yet that premium is only $60 dearer than Dunedin.
A young newcomer to the south from Rotorua has today been settling into his new home at Te Anau. There are very few Antipodes island parakeets left in the wild, their habitat under threat from rats and humans. This week, a young male bred in captivity at Rainbow Springs has been transferred to Te Anau. He'll join a breeding program at the Wildlife Centre there, and it's hoped he'll settle in quickly and set about boosting the birds' numbers. The parakeets are largely seed and berry eaters and consequently spend a lot of their time on the ground. That lifestyle has made them vulnerable to the growing rat population in the bush. Invercargill is in the unusual situation of having 2 mayors contesting the top position at local government elections in October. Because of local government restructuring, the present mayor, Eve Poole, and the mayor of Bluff, Bruce Pagan, have both announced they want to be the mayor of the new Greater Invercargill. Kim Hurring's been talking to them both.
Both of these contenders have proved themselves as respected leaders of their communities. Now that Invercargill and Bluff find themselves one authority, the people of the new Invercargill district have more choice in their leadership. Eve Poole and Bruce Pagan see the welding together of the new community of interest as the biggest job facing the new district mayor.
The amalgamation, which is now law, will mean the annexation of residents who didn't want to come in. So one has to use tact and experience in order to make them feel, A, that we welcome them, that they are needed, that they're not going to be disadvantaged. On the contra, we'll be able to supply the kind of services which will enhance them and that we'll work together.
There is a desire for a greater degree of accountability. The days when politicians were subject to a ballot every 3 years, I think, are fast fading. Councils will be required to set goals, both short-term and long-term, and to evaluate those goals regularly and report back to their ratepayers, at least annually.
Eve Poole has been mayor for 2 terms, some of the most difficult years Invercargill has been through, but she sees the district coming out of its depression now, at least partly due to her efforts.
Having coped, I think, with just about the worst kind of situation, not only the floods, but, as I said earlier, the recession and the social impact on our community, and now seeing them on an upward curve again with considerable confidence and optimism, I feel that now I can direct my experience and the talents which I have towards the amalgamation.
On the night we visited, both mayors were involved in late-night meetings, not unusual for a Monday night. For whoever gets the mayoralty of Invercargill, it's a full-time job. Bruce Pagan intends to give up his teaching position if he wins.
I think I have the capabilities and the experience to put together a team, to weld together a group of people who've got a cooperative approach, particularly amongst the staff and the elected people, that can work with this new concept of local government and develop a bit of pride in local government.
Your major disadvantage has got to be that you're from Bluff.
Well, I don't necessarily agree. I think that's an advantage, and I'm sure that the people of the Invercargill district, because it is now a district, will look upon the candidates with their respective merits and choose ability. And I think, frankly, that puts me at an advantage.
Other candidates have yet to come forward, but the absence of party politics in Invercargill elections means personalities will feature in the way people vote.
We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.